He was reckoned a paragon of beauty, elegance, and refinement, a floating flower or dandy as his enemies used to say. He gained a reputation for his intelligence and scholarship, but was criticised for his arrogance, so was still unpopular, never allowed to hold positions under Cao Pi or Cao Rui. When Cao Shuang came into power though, He Yan finally became a government minister and offered him his support until the Sima family took control. As a scholar of Xuan Shui, he was notable for exploring the already existing theory of Wu Wei, action through inaction. He was also a prolific writer of poetry who wrote many miscellaneous essays on philosophy, politics, literature and history, some of which still survive. His great-grandfather was merely a butcher, but his grandfather was the famous general and regent He Jin. His father, however, died at an early age. The He clan's political power was destroyed when Dongzhuo occupied Luoyang, but He Yan's mother managed to escape and gave birth to him when she was in exile. Cao Cao eventually took He Yan's mother as a concubine when he was about 6, so she became known as Lady Yin. In his youth, he held a passion for reading and study, so quickly earned himself a reputation for being gifted, bright and as intelligent as a god. As a result of his adoption, he was raised with the other princes of Wei, so spent a considerable amount of time with Cao Cao during his childhood. Once, when he consulted He Yan over Sun Tzu's art of war, he was impressed with his interpretation. Much to his detriment, however, he was resented by the eventual successor Cao Pi, who named him a false son for acting as if he were an actual crown prince. When Cao Pi became emperor, he rejected He Yan's proposal for a government position, as by now many of his peers disliked him. They wrote that he was unmanly, fond of makeup, self-indulgent and selfish. He was even fond of the poisonous psychoactive drug 5-mineral powder and married Princess Xinxiang, who may have been his half-sister as she was one of Cao Cao's daughters. The Book of Jin holds the claim that the trend for taking the cold food powder actually started with He Yan, who brought into fashion this new drug that brings on a state of ecstasy. Up until now, its users had been few, and no accounts were handed down concerning them, but after the fact, it became commonly known about, so those who used the drug searched for each other. He Yan first discovered its divine properties with his friends, as they used the drug to achieve greater spiritual clarity and physical strength, eventually becoming addicted. He Yan once claimed, "Whenever I take 5-mineral powder, not only does it heal any illness I have, but I'm also aware of my spirit and intelligence becoming receptive and lucid." He went on to become one of the founders of the Neo-Taoist Xuan Shui school alongside Wang Bi by combining Confucianism and Taoism because they believed the two schools complemented each other. They theorized that by studying both works in the correct manner, one could arrive at a single unified truth. He had already written a famous commentary on the Liu I-ch'ing that was influential for its time, but he planned to write another more detailed version. When he compared his new draft with Wang Bi's, he decided that his was inferior, but still went ahead with writing it even though it was more general and broad. They also encouraged the consumption of their favourite drug within their philosophical circles as they practiced Xiantang, pure conversations about many philosophies, such as the basic structure of reality itself. Not surprisingly, he loved the Taoist immortality techniques within the Lao Huang branch of thought, but his lack of constraint brought down on him the ill will of the orthodox traditionalists. He was unable to achieve political prominence under Cao Rui, who refused to employ him and called him a floating flower. Well known for his flamboyance and overindulgence of sensual pleasures, he could easily descend into drunkenness, then squander money or resources. He was, however, a member of a committee that produced an influential and authoritative commentary on Confucian theory called the Collected Explanations of the Analects. For reasons unknown, He Yan was almost given sole credit over the other 4 members of the committee, and it's not known if they wrote it out of interest or if the Wei government made it an order. After he presented it to the court, the text was quickly recognized as the principal commentary which held its authority for almost 1,000 years. When Cao Fang sat on the throne throughout the early 240s, he was still a child, so Sima Yi and Cao Shuang shared the co-regency. During this time, new groups of intellectuals largely headed by He Yan sought to oppose traditional Confucian principles and do away with pointless formalities in society. Sima Yi became a leading representative of men from good families who sought to defend the traditions of Confucian morality and promote restraint in politics and society. He Yan worked his way into Cao Shuang's inner circle, then got promoted to be the Secretary of Personnel. He brought many of his friends into important positions, including the influential Wang Bi. He Yan, Deng Yang and Ding Mi advised Cao Shuang to relocate the Empress Dowager so she could not interfere with his consolidation over the Wei government. He Yan benefited from the new changes made to the political structure that offered him security, plus Cao Shuang's close aides in high positions all looked out for each other. At this time, there was a saying in Luoyang, "Her Deng and Ding create turmoil in the capital." When the Sima family launched a coup d'etat to seize power back, they captured all members of Cao Shuang's faction and escorted them back into Luoyang. Sima Yi assigned He Yan the task of presiding as a judge on the trial, so he treated Cao very harshly in order to gain Sima Yi's favour. They were all charged for treason, then executed along with their extended families 4 days after the coup, but at the very last moment, Sima Yi added He Yan's name to the list of criminals. When the soldiers were rounding up He Yan's family, Lady Yin hid her grandson, then threw herself before Sima Yi's mercy at the palace, begging him for humanity. She eventually convinced him to pardon her grandson. For the second time now, Lady Yin's actions had ensured the safety of her family, but perhaps not for long. The child's fate is unclear, as when the Shou regent Fei Yi gave his comments on the coup, he said, He Yan's son was a nephew of the Wei emperor and even he was killed. Sima Yi was assuming too much power and behaving improperly. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.